Here we are at the start of the path to the Merrymans Graveyard. And we're about to do something we haven't done in over 30 years. Walk to it. Actually, the last time I was here, I drove to it back in 1980 or 81. The last time I walked here would have been 1977. In fact, it's been so long, I don't remember anything I'm seeing right now. And now at a crossroads, or rather, cross paths. The graveyard is that direction to the north. To the south is the path leading to Loch Raven Bridge number 2. It's a longer walk from that parking lot. That's why we parked on Pot Spring Road. And this way is our troll bridge right up ahead. And here it is. Or at least back in the 70s. That's what we called it. And here it is from the side. The usual troll bridge legend. To be a troll beneath there poking a broomstick up at your rear end as you walk over it. But no troll there now. So I guess we can cross it. So let's go. Those slats are wide enough for a broom handle to fit. So watch out. Well, no troll there now, so I guess we're safe. Got many photos I shot here back in the early 70s. A bit different back then. I know one thing for sure. The fastest 40 years of my life. For my first visit here. But up here someplace, back in the 70s, an interesting phenomenon would occur. You go around the curve, and the temperature would rise by a few degrees. For some unknown reason. Let's see what happens now. Or if this is the curve I'm thinking of. No rise yet. Maybe it stopped happening. Or I got the wrong curve. One of the two. But at this point, we should be over the halfway point to the graveyard. And down there, part of Loch Raven Reservoir. In fact, once upon a time, you could go down there and see church steeples sticking up out of the water. Long since removed, of course. There were a couple of towns down there at one time. The town of Warren and the town of Merrymans Bottom. But anyway, I believe up there is the grade where the temperature used to rise back in the 70s. So, let's see what happens now. This was the spot. So far, nothing. Nope. The phenomenon was a thing of the past. I guess the earth has changed. And again, the reservoir. But no church steeples. Still no church steeples. But in the distance, bridge number 2 over the reservoir. And continuing on, we're almost there. And I believe over here to the left is where the path bears off to the graveyard. I could be wrong. It's been 30 years. Let's check it out. I do recall a path taking a wide loop, as this one just did. But don't see a graveyard yet. But now I do. Way up there. And to think, I used to drive here. Now the trail's too narrow and rutted. And here we are. And here's proof. But of course, back in the 70s, that sign wasn't there. And we could still disturb. But apparently somebody did disturb. Hence the sign. But here we are, now on the inside of the wall. For the first time since 1981. For me, anyway. And my first video ever of this place. So I've got some 40-year-old stills. Most dates on the graves are kind of old. But one of the latest dates I could find is this one, 1952. But interesting thing about this graveyard is that the graves have both headstones and footstones too. Most cemeteries I've been to don't have footstones, whatever you want to call them. Another one from 1952. But most are older. 1905 on this one. And here, 1934. And the oldest I could find, 1894. Some reference only lived 34 years. Folks died young back then, didn't they? But everybody here is named Merryman. So good thing they called the graveyard that. And again, across the way, Loch Raven Reservoir. With honking geese. Up there somewhere. I give up. Well, here's somebody named Morris, a non-Merryman. How about that? Still a shame that some vandalism did occur here over the decades. But here you have it, the Merrymans Graveyard. Okay, folks, all you Merrymans, rest in peace. We're out of here. That way's back the way we came. But to the north, the path continues on. Don't know where it goes. In all these decades, I never walked it before. And I guess I won't be walking it today. But at one time, wide enough to drive, believe it or not. Can't drive it now though. Too many downed trees. Here and up ahead there. But this way is the way that we go back. In fact, when I drove, I backed my car all the way down here so I could head out very easily. I preferred to do it that way. And again, the res. But back in the 70s, this was our idea of a hot time, walking to the graveyard and doing whatever else upon arrival there. This part of the path is still drivable. After all, it's a fire road for the reservoir. But of course it's gated off, so I guess you can't drive it. Unless you got a key. But now there are developments up there that weren't up there back in the 70s. What a shame. Too bad nothing is sacred anymore. Alright, continue on. And again about to cross our troll bridge. But somehow this seems like a much shorter walk than it did back in the 70s. I can't figure that part out. In the 70s it seemed like a forever walk to that graveyard. Now it seems like a real short walk. I guess when you get older, your sense of distance and time changes. Watch out for that broomstick between the slats. Better get over it quick. Made it. I'm gonna get my behind poked. Now on the upgrade before Pot Spring Road. But getting up this grade was easier 40 years ago than it is now. I'm out of breath. This ain't the 70s anymore. Too bad I can't still drive. Up ahead, back at our starting point. Can't drive down the path now for that reason. But back then, those were bittersweet times. And back at Pot Spring Road. Up there one time there was a big farm, but now it's a gated community. Again, those were the days. So I guess we're out of here. Alright, hope you enjoyed.